I'd like to call to order the District of Chetwynd General Council meeting. Can I get your opening statement read, please?
As we gather today on the traditional territory of the Delegations to conduct the business of the District of Chetwynd, we do so knowing that we're privileged to serve the citizens of this community and we shall endeavor to conduct our business in their best interests. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, prior to adoption of the agenda, is there any new business to add on to our agenda? Councilors? Councilor Beck?
Weed control.
Pardon me? Weed control? Okay. Let's get that. So, to the agenda, weed control. Any other items? Councilor Moore?
I guess, building permits.
Building permits. Any other? Not seeing any. Adoption of the agenda.
Motion to adopt.
I'll second.
Okay, all those in favor? Carried. Minutes of the regular council meeting held on August 5th, 2025. Any errors or omissions? I guess we should take credit.
Oh, no.
Any errors or omissions? Okay. Motion?
I'll motion to adopt.
Second.
Okay. Okay, all those in favor? We're good. All those in favor? Good. No delegations, bylaws, committee reports. Councilor Nelson?
Thank you. Can you, this is on? Oh, yes, can you hear me?
Yeah.
How's that?
Good.
Anyways, so I had the privilege of traveling to Williams Lake to deliver the carving of Carrie Price, also known as the goalie, from the 2014 chainsaw carving competition. We were just met with such great hospitality, and it truly was a great presentation and dedication to the community. It was installed inside the rec center in Williams Lake, so if anyone's ever there, please do go have a look. It's right at the entrance. And Carrie Price's mother and father were in attendance, as well as the mayor, councillors from Williams Lake, as well as the chief there. And it was just really heartfelt stories about what exactly it meant to them. So just another real indication of how important these sponsorships and the gifts of the carvings are to our communities and the connection that it builds. It was just brought a lot of Chetwynd pride to Williams Lake, and I had a great time for sure. And not really necessarily my portfolio, but a project really near and dear to my heart, the Chetwynd running track resurfacing. The construction has begun, and if you go down to Rotary Park, you're going to see the beginning of a project that really is going to be completed by this fall. And I have a dream of seeing all proponents who really care about this project, hopefully community members, councillors, school children, to all participate in the relay and pass some memorial baton when we do open that track, because I think it's going to be so great for the future of our community and for future athletes. So thank you for that.
Any other reports? Okay, just to add on to what Councilor Nelson had, when we were there in Williams Lake, we went to Price, mother and father, and they were just gracious and told us hockey stories about being hockey parents and having to travel 3+ hours to get to Williams Lake to hockey practice. So anybody that's has any kids in minor sport knows the dedication that parents put in. Kudos to them. And Carrie Price, gold medal winner, NHL player, So it was great that they honored us by sending us a letter, and I think we'll be posting it on our website, CEO. Yes, okay. Thank you, Councillor. Any other reports? Okay, adoption of reports as is.
Motion to adopt.
Second.
Okay. All in favor? Carried. No discussion items, correspondence. Right to information items. I-1 to I-6.
Motion to receive I-1 to I-6.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Carried. Okay, reports for action, Dawson Creek Recycling.
I'll make the recommendation that Dawson Creek Recycling be granted an extension on their lease of the building located at 4824 54th Street and the residential curbside recycling collection services for a period of 5 years, commencing September 1st, 2025.
I'll second.
Okay, discussion? Councilor McDonald?
Are you able to share any pay schedule history for the past contract with them? Because Dawson Creek Recycling, have they been in charge previously? And what pay schedule would we have had prior to this?
I'm sorry, I'm not sure what you mean by the schedule.
So it is Schedule A at the end, the payment schedule. So I'm wondering what history.
What the past history, like what before, was it the same?
It would be similar. I don't know exactly what it was prior to this.
Councilor McDonald, I guess we should be asking what is, are we asking if it's increased, decreased, or are we going increments throughout the year, or, because it looks like we are quite bi-weekly.
Yeah, I'm just wondering what the previous year would have been for it, 24, 23.
And we will generally follow a set amount. Like for instance, for most of our leases, it's about a 5%, between 2 and 5% annual increase every year. And that's what Kevin would have done here.
Okay.
And that's going to be ballpark. You want to kind of maintain the cost of living increase, but you don't want to be seen as overcharging.
Mm-hmm.
Does that
Thank
help?
you. Yes.
Councilor Lawson?
So I don't know a whole bunch about municipal recycling and the costs associated. This is fairly standard where, okay, so they're renting a space from us for what seems like a pretty affordable lease. And then they're billing us back for the service that they're offering. But in return, they really are, like, they're collecting these recyclables, which is brilliant for our community, of course, but like they are making income on that as well, right? So is this a standard style of payment, or are we overpaying?
Well, obviously I can't speak for the whole province, but we would be well within the normal range for here. That's why we put it to a competitive bid, so we generally get at least 2 or 3 people to bid on it, and our companies, and so that will be the standard for this area. That's why we get multiple pricing. So yeah, it would be for our region, it would be well within the norm. There's different, like, cardboard gets baled up in those huge square bales and then trucked down to where it's actually recycled, for instance. So every community will pay a different fee for the trucking. So it would be really hard to do a standard between the Kootenays to the Lower Mainland to say Atla, for instance, right? But I think for our region, we're paying a fair amount.
Thank you. Good, Councilor.
And there is an offset too with the recycling, it costs us less than putting it in the landfill. And from the solid waste community of the Green District, there's the city, and safety there.
Absolutely, thank you, Councilor Beck.
Okay, is there any other questions or discussion? All those in favor? Okay. RA2, farmer market location.
No,
Oh,
evaluation of solid waste.
okay. There we go. Yeah, okay, we'll go to RA2, evaluation of solid waste curbside collection service proponents.
I'll make the recommendation that council will direct staff to enter into a contract with Element Disposal for solid waste curbside collection services for a term of 3 years with the pricing as noted in the table above.
Second. Okay, discussion, go ahead, Councilor Ward.
Are they a local company? What do we know about this Element Disposal?
Yes.
I will defer over to Director Malcolm.
They are based in Dawson Creek. They do waste disposal for the mines in the area. They have established themselves as a viable contractor in solid waste collection and disposal in the region.
Thanks, Desiree. Did you say for the mines? And for, how about for any other municipalities?
I didn't see that they had other municipalities in their proposal, but I could take another look and get back to you on that if you'd like.
Thank you. I believe, you know, I understand the process of the bid. It's just a little concerning. I mean, they are quite under, but I mean, we've had GFL. You know, it's a big change, and GFL is local, and I guess I'm just a little bit concerned about the change and what that means for our local businesses.
So the concerns that are there, do we want to defer if that is possible to get more information on if they've done other municipalities?
Well, that'd be up to council, of course, but I would encourage mayor and council to remember, you know, it's a purchasing policy for a reason, and we feel bad when a local business loses out as well. It is, you know, mayor and council have given us a 10% premium to shop local, and we would always prefer to shop local. As Desiree mentions, they do have people locally, so in that sense, they are local. And so for us, you know, while we want to always support local business, we're always really mindful that we're spending taxpayer money to do that. And so we really, unless mayor and council directs us otherwise, we don't want to go over that 10% premium. Director LeBlanc is into that too.
So both proposals include contingency plans, and Element Disposal, part of their contingency plan is that they do have a partnership with Soto and a disposal truck at Soto. So if their Dawson Creek truck was unable to collect our solid waste, then they would be asking Soto, or the truck if they were available at Soto.
Yeah, and I mean, although I have those concerns, I am satisfied with the whole process, and that, thank you.
Thank you, Councilor.
Okay. So if there isn't any other discussion, all those in favor? Carried. Any opposed? Okay. RI1, building bylaws.
Motion to receive.
I'll second.
Okay, any discussion? Councilor Ward, anything you want to say?
Just this is clarification on the bylaw, has it changed? Is this just putting it ready for a reminder, or what is this?
Well, basically, council asked me questions I couldn't answer at the last meeting. So this is me answering the questions. Because there are places that I see cans, I was a little murky on it and wasn't really comfortable with anyone answering, but it's all down to zoning. So R1 doesn't have C-cans, but a commercial building can if they're in the back. And they have, that's why it's such a long report, there's so many technical details in it, right?
Thank you.
And, Mayor's Chair, I need clarification too on that, so that we can put that out there. Sometimes it is a little difficult to find stuff, but if it's in our, in this meeting, then it'll be put out there to the public. Yeah. Thank you, Councilor.
So is it difficult to find it on our website?
I didn't find it difficult. It was, that's where I got all the information from. I did double check with our bylaw officer because I'm an expert. And, like the original bylaw for CCANs was 2013, I believe, and then it was amended in 2016. So it's been around for a while. And then one thing that was kind of interesting that I was a little murky on was, like coveralls. Because a coverall building is actually not exempt from a building permit, and I wasn't sure why. And the reason is it's considered more permanent structure. Coverall warranties their skins for 35 years on some of their models, and they're actually engineered, so they have an engineering stamp, and they are rated for snow load, so they do require a building permit. But like a Canadian Tire, for instance, a garage in a box, or a small greenhouse with just like a plastic coating isn't engineered, isn't considered anything other than a temporary structure, so it doesn't require a building permit. And this does conform provincially, like from our entire province is part of the building code.
So I did have in mind that this really pertains to that in mind, so I will ask. So an example of this CCAN bylaw is the CCAN sitting in the empty lot beside the credit union. So is that against bylaw as it sits?
No, because any construction site's allowed to have a CCAN because they're weatherproof, road-proof, and easily lockable. But the CCAN that you're speaking of has actually been gone for a couple of weeks now. It was.
It's gone?
Yeah.
I haven't noticed. Thank you.
It was because they haven't substantially done any work.
Okay.
We had removed it.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll just accept the information. Oh, okay,
Looking at the CCAN bylaw, it basically it's allowed anywhere except for in the neighborhood by the looks of it, other than neighborhood commercial. And they're all over talking about like they're making an amendment, but they were be approved for residential areas and be put in a category of backyard or something like that, just to I think they're a good piece of equipment.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch the last sentence.
I think they're a good piece of equipment, a good shelter.
I don't disagree with you, and that's why under the bylaw they have as well, they have an application for a temporary structure long-term. So I think the reason behind this is that if it's painted the same as your main structure, if it's in the backyard, if it's behind a fence, then there would be the ability to get a long-term permit for that. Because they are affordable and they do have a lot of advantages, but a lot of people really hate them because they feel like it brings down real estate values and property values. I'm sure Councilor Nelson can see that side of it too. And they can't ever be in the front. They can't ever take up parking. they can't ever be obtrusive.
So all the ones we have in town, that are all over the place, they've all got a permit for them, IGA, 7-Eleven, and every other place has got a permit for them, home hardware.
I would have to ask bylaw about that, but I know that in the bylaw, it did list like Peace Country Rentals, Home Hardware, and I believe there was one other listed actually in the report in 2013. So I think that most of them will have permits, but we haven't, I don't know if we've actually checked every one of them. I could ask Mark to come up to the podium and speak more to, if you want to.
What you might, we're not picking.
Okay.
Okay. Go ahead.
Hi, Marvell McKinnon. Marvell McKinnon. Wow. Marge McKinnon, bylaw enforcement animal control officer, District of Chetwynd. Wow. I don't know how to use this thing, so. Anyways, so the C-cans that are in the downtown area are in the C2 commercial zone, which is downtown Chetwynd. And they are permitted to have C-cans in the C2 zone. So those do not require permits. There are structures that have had roofs put on prior to this bylaw coming in. You mentioned it.
Peace Country Rentals,
Peace Country Rentals, and there's
Home Hardware,
uh,
Gurama,
Napa.
Napa.
At the Napa, where they actually put groups over them, and they were not permitted to do that. So there are section 57s put on those properties. They are not conforming to the bylaw, and they do not have the permits. When it comes to the long-term permits, those permits have to go through a more stringent process than a temporary permit. And for the most part, we just recommend people that they may put a C-can on their property for a temporary time, and it can be a maximum of 2 years. If you need it further than that, then you can take it and have a, what is it?
Variance?
Variance, that's the word, thank you. A variance permit put on it, which would then come to you guys for approval.
Thank you. Go ahead, Councilor.
So anybody in town can have a C-can in their yard if they get a variance.
They get a permit.
Yeah, they can have the temporary permit up to 2 years, as long as it follows the rules. And the rules are laid out here, like it has to be, in the backyard, it has to be, not blocking traffic or alleys. It should be painted the same color as the primary residence. So there's some basic rules just to make it so it's not unsightly and not impact the neighbor's enjoyment of their property, while still allowing the resident to have that storage available to them if they wish it.
I guess one more question. So why would town center and highway commercial and neighborhood commercial not have to have a permit to put one in, yet residential would?
That would go back to mayor and council in 2013.
Yeah.
They decided probably because the business community advocated very strongly for it. But even there, if you look at Peace Country Rentals, theirs is way in the back. And even though they're allowed it, they're encouraged for it to be, again, not unsightly and not to detract from their curbside appeal as well.
And I understand all that. I've read through it, and I'm just wondering why the residential can't have them basically without going through a bunch of steps.
Mayor and council can absolutely bring that about if they wish to. I know in the past that there has been an outcry against it from residents as well. And I think my sense is that mayor and council tried really hard to strike a compromise here, where, we're going to let people have them, but we're going to have some basic rules, and they're not supposed to just sit there forever. And I think that was, for the time, probably the best solution. Should mayor and council want to just allow it on residential properties, R1 as well, then you're mayor and council, you can do that. I'm just suggesting that there would be always the other perspective on that as well. A lot of people really do not want a CCAN next to their property because they think of it as unsightly. And then there's always a worry about it being unofficial housing as well.
Thank you.
Councillor Deck, I hear an amendment to make an amendment, we need a motion. So we haven't had a motion. So if we are to entertain anything like that, we need to be able to go back to our bylaws and make any changes that we feel sufficient and debate them. So I'm just asking CAO if this is a time or if we need to be able to bring it into another meeting and bring it forward that way.
I would be more than happy to do up a report and list options for mayor and council to consider, and then we can roll it into a timeline. I mean, there's first, second, and third readings and everything, so it won't be done at the next meeting, but we'll have a report so that we can at least have the conversation at the next meeting, and you folks can give us direction on how you want us to proceed.
Councillor Deck, is that sufficient? Okay. We've got receipt for information. All those in favor? Okay. Okay, under the direction of the council and the mayor, he will give us the report and we will see this again. Okay. Okay. RI2, Farmers Market location. Where do we want to start?
Motion to receive the report for information.
I'll second.
Discussion?
Can sense that this is a sensitive topic. My question is, who runs the farmer's market and makes the decisions on where it's going to be located?
Well, that's actually a two-parter.
Okay.
There's basically a board of directors for farmers market. The local president, we couldn't get her to weigh in because she's actually away, but we have a meeting scheduled for her in early September. So they're the ones that decide basically how the farmers market runs. It's been a combination of both staff and the farmers market on locations. If you look down onto my report there, like we started with the seniors hall, we've done Spirit Park, the empty lot by Orchids and Moonlight, and they were none of them suitable for various reasons. We've considered the old library site because it's a shiny new parking lot and it would be a good fit there. But then we have a problem with if we have the farmers market anywhere near the rec center during things like chainsaw carving, now we have more and more congested. So that becomes an issue as well. And if we put it behind the building, then they lose that visibility. They because they're struggling small businesses, they really need the visibility. So what we want to do is we want to meet with them in September and discuss options moving forward. With the work that Ellen McAvaney's been doing on Carver's Row, we have power, we have water, we're putting in a new wider sidewalk. And what we're going to propose is flip the booths around 180 degrees so that the street remains open to normal traffic. And then the vendors are facing the highway. The customers come down the sidewalk, which will be wheelchair accessible. And then it just becomes a downtown event that has less impact on any of the neighboring businesses. And that's what we've come up with so far. We're, of course, always more than willing to listen to suggestions, but we have considered a lot of things. At Spirit Park, because of the lack of visibility, farmers market dropped 50% of their membership. And so this is a service for our whole community. that food security, supporting local business again, local small business, and it really helps our entire community. So we're really struggling to find a really good location. We've talked about moving it up closer to the district office. If, for instance, if we got the grants for the fire hall and we started developing this part, maybe we can make a defined area for the farmers market. And so we're looking at short-term, long-term, right now and later, and a few years down the road. Sorry for talking so long, but this is a divisive topic. And there's a lot of people that really support the farmers market where it is. And there's some people that really want it to go elsewhere. If we move it downtown, then we impact other businesses, so we haven't really gone forward. We have the provincial health requirements for water, power, toilets. And right now, Carver's Row fits everything perfectly, except for the impact to these three businesses.
Councillor Rook?
So your idea of a resolution, will that work? It looks like it will work.
Well, what we hope it will work, but we haven't had a chance to meet with the Farmers Market Board yet, and that's coming in September. We'd like to bring together spokespeople for all three business people and the farmers market and get them in the same room and talk about compromise, talk about what everybody would like to see to make it work.
That sounds great. So are we going to be okay for the rest of the season? Is it going to work for the rest of the season without much conflict, or do we know that?
I can't say for sure.
Right.
We're doing what we can to minimize the conflict. We've asked the farmers market, even with absence of the president, to make sure that they really focus on not being an impact to the businesses. If they see their customers parking at those spots, to ask them to move. But here again, if like sometimes we get like we regularly get seniors that have mobility challenges that are going to the farmers market, and they park in front of Beeline because they've known them forever and they don't think there's any harm, and that's creating a conflict, right? And so we're hearing from a variety of people that it's but all we did was we just stopped for 5 minutes and Beeline's closed, so. And Beeline during the summer is Monday to Thursday.
Right, but it's not necessarily Beeline that.
Exactly.
Yes, there's several businesses there.
And that's the problem. I talked to my optometrist, who is that guy, and he said we really don't have any issues with the farmers market, but we're trying really hard to be good neighbors where we're at as well, and so we just don't want to be in the conflict. If you look into further along, we did a business evaluation in 2022, and so Beeline said they felt the season was an improvement from other years. They didn't want to make a big deal about it. They enjoyed taking time from their office to check out the market.
Steve. No, and I totally understand that, but that was 2022, and we
Yeah.
really need to address the current.
But that's the problem is nobody came to us with a change. The last that we talked to everybody and we check in regularly, it was there's no, it's better, and then it all of a sudden did us one turn, and it was unforeseen because nobody told us it was happening.
Right, so now it's good to know that all of the affected businesses, and including the farmers market, will all meet and come to a resolution, hopefully.
We're gonna try.
Yeah.
Councillor Nelson?
On other conversations, we opened up, and clearly we've had some serious complaints from tax-paying business owners, which I think is really important that we respect, and we're looking at it, which we are. Probably something that happened immediately, judging with the timeline. But I really think the idea of keeping that street open is such a good solution. And if for some reason, and I mean, first and foremost, we need to have all the stakeholders sitting down. Farmers market hasn't been able to meet. So ideally, the solution is going to come together. And with a new sidewalk allowing patrons, the farmers market to kind of turn around, keep the road open, it seems like a perfect solution. But I will say that when we were in Williams Lake just now, that they had their farmers market right at their rec center, which offered the power and water as required. And we do have that beautiful new parking lot, and it could be a solution. I don't think that we should pull away from Carver's Row, but I just hope that our businesses who have voiced their complaints and lengthy complaints is that they recognize that we as a team, we're going to do something, but it can't happen by Friday. I think that, I think there's staff on site that is, am I correct in this, that the visitor center is on site doing what they can to direct people and ensure that those parking lots stay open in this meantime? I hate to think that the farmers market isn't being welcomed in our community because it's so important, but I also hate to think that our business owners feel like they're being ignored. I mean, these are tax-paying citizens, and it's just so important to me that everyone understands that we are going to do the best we can, and it's going to take a minute. So I look forward to the farmers market getting their board together to be able to do something on this, because it's our job to listen to our citizens. Thank you.
Sure, first.
Okay, we'll give the Councilor Daniel. Get forward.
Last Friday, I was down at the farmer's market, being a patron. I strongly believe in the farmer's market. Somebody pulled into the parking lot in question, and half a dozen people got out and like walking around the farmer's market. The previous Friday or the Friday before, there was an accident at the far intersection up there. That was quite concerning. And it wasn't just a minor fender bender. It was quite an accident. Ambulance was called and everything. I think it's a great place to have a farmer's market, but as Junior Nelson said, we have to come to a resolution. Maybe the resolution is right having it all on one side. And as Councillor Ward said, the last study was done in 2022, so maybe we have to have a refresh.
We've already identified that, yes, Councillor, absolutely. And the only reason I would say maybe don't do a resolution quite yet is because, you know, we're trying really hard to figure out a good fix. Like if we go down to the rec center, the problem, of course, is now we impact the school kids parking because that's where they park. And then we impact the events there. And everybody we're dealing with is taxpayers. So we're dealing with literally hundreds of taxpayers, and we're trying to keep all of them happy and not doing very well at it right now. But Ellen and I are spending a lot of time talking about this.
I didn't mean a resolution today.
Oh.
I just.
Oh, like a resolution, okay, yeah, sorry.
Councilor London?
I just want to echo what Councilor Nelson said as well. Like I appreciate what you said, to respect the business owners and their concerns, as well as making the farmers market comfortable as well. I, for one, absolutely love the farmers market. I'm a patron of the farmers market almost every week, or at least I try to be. And with the new plan and turning it around, is there my concern, being a farmers market patron with young children, would be safety as well. If we open up the road, I feel that the farmers market location should be somewhere where children don't need to be held on to the entire time. And safety would be a main concern for me as well. And I really do enjoy the farmers market location. It's a reminder every time I drive by that the farmers market is on, and that visibility is really important for myself, who doesn't put the farmers market in my calendar. So I appreciate the information presented from the businesses, and respect what they have to say. And I'm just really sad to see that it's gotten to a point where such emotions are incredibly high.
Good.
The child pedestrian issue is one that Ellen and I have again talked at length about, because One of the reasons we closed the street off is because of that. We were worried about kids running across. We feel that if we reevaluate the way they're facing again, we spin them around, we barricade off behind them, and we add another crosswalk between the park and the end of the sidewalk, then we'll be as safe as we kind of can be. I mean, realistically, if we put it anywhere in town, there's going to be a road and kids could run out on it, but we're going to do everything that we possibly can to minimize the risk. We're gonna add signage, children playing, pedestrian, danger pedestrian. We'll put in a crosswalk. We'll do everything we can from an operational sense to make them as safe as we can.
Thank you.
Any other, just the safety part, but you're here too, one from Councilor Deck and one from Councilor McDonald. So anyway, I think all these need to be brought, will be brought to the Farmers Market Committee and us so that we can hear all the facts. So hopefully the resolution is done in September so we could have a good year next year, and we will continue to make all the patrons and our local taxpayers all feel happy and safe. Okay, we've got set for information. Or was it a resolution for this one?
No, it was just except for,
Okay. All in favor of information? Carried. All right. New business. We have weed control, Councilor Deck.
Just, we brushed on it briefly here a couple of meetings ago or something like that. There's a lot, just noticed a lot. So I'm just wondering, do we do anything about that anymore, or we just let it go?
no, we did, there's actually several different facets to that. There's the roads, the highways controls, and they do their spraying. There's the Peace River Regional District property, which is, of course, the rec center and all the grounds, and they bring in their sprayer, and they do it, and then we bring in a sprayer as well. And what we do is we try to just target noxious weeds, so thistle, scentless chamomile, that kind of stuff is, and we bring in a professional applicator. It's not summer students, it's a professional weed applicator. With the lots, it's a process. We have to warn them. So there's vacant lots, and we say, your lot's unsightly, there's thistle on it. If by this time of year, by the time our sprayer comes in, if they haven't addressed it, then we spray it, and then it goes on their tax bill. So there's often more of a lag between what we'd like it to be and what it actually can be, but we do try to get it all sprayed every year.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay. So sufficient. Councilor Deck?
Yep, thank you.
Welcome.
Okay, Councilor Ward, building permits.
Okay, so I'm sorry, I should know this. Is there an expiry date on a building permit?
Yes, there is. I believe it's 2 years before, as long as you're showing some work on the property if it's a building, construction site for a building permit, then it doesn't really expire. But you have to be showing that there's substantial work. Once there isn't, then at 2 years, they can apply to renew. And then after that expiry, then we can, refuse it.
So where are we with the property beside the credit union?
Well, we don't have a lot of news that we can relay to you. We know that, as we mentioned before, that there was a change in business plans. We know that we put an interested party in town in touch with the owner so that they could look at negotiating some other kind of deal. But we can't really talk about any of it because it's, of course, intensely private. We are following permits and the administrative side from local government very closely on it. But it's always, again, like, this is a business that has spent a significant amount of tax dollars on that piece of property. And it hasn't worked out the way people want it to, but it's still theirs, and they've still spent a significant amount of money on it. And so we try to be really respectful of that, and we try to support business. So we're helping the business owner get through this as much as we can. Ellen and I are helping as much as we can, but we really don't know where it is because it's happening, as far as what's going on, because it's happening in back rooms.
Right.
And it's really kind of none of our business until we have to take over it.
Okay, can you talk about how it came to be that the CCAN was removed?
The CCAN was a rental, and the owner came and removed it. Like it's a CCAN company out of Prince George. I'm not privy as to why.
Okay.
But I talked to him, and he, I helped expedite it a bit, but that was as far as we went.
Okay, so with and maybe it's not a building permit that I'm referring to, but the plans that have now, I'm assuming, expired in some sense. The plans are now changing. How can the municipality manage an area like that so that we have timelines, or is that even possible? Could, in fact, that property owner sit on it for 5 or 10 more years and do nothing with it? And
Yes. Yeah, if a property owner keeps it from being unsightly, if they pay their taxes, it's their property. I mean, we see so many vacant lots that we often don't see them anymore. But we have very prominent business people in our town that some of them own 6 or 7 vacant lots and have for a period of years. They're investments. They look after them, they keep them clean, they have fences around them. That's just business. If I use another example, and I don't want to, pick on anybody, but if you look at Prince Rupert, who had a really economic, huge downturn. And when we were there, like every other building, it seemed like was boarded up or a big hole in the ground. And the Mayor Pond was really clear on, it's a beautiful smile with some gaps in the teeth, he called it. And they're working on building back their community now. But it's private property is private property. Like we try to. This is why, like bylaw enforcement, we don't spend a lot of time looking over people's fences, looking for things that we can punish people for.
right.
If your kid's living in your RV in your driveway while he's working on a shutdown, if he's quiet, we're not going to bother him, right?
If I may.
Sure.
But we could ask these businesses to do better weed control and better lawn care, because that contravenes our bylaws, yes?
Yes, and that's what I referred to earlier, that this is the time of year where if they haven't, like we've sent them written notice after written notice, and every lot you've seen around town that has high weeds, we've done this. And at this time of year, if they haven't responded, then we take care of it, and then we bill them back on their taxes. And that's how we get it back. But it's not a fast process. We can't do it in June. It has to be towards the end of the summer.
Well, could we not preemptively at the beginning of the year or season, send them that letter and say, are you going to do as little maintenance as you did last year? We'd like to know because we intend to take care of it in advance. We could potentially ask them up front, yeah? We
ask them early in the year. Yeah, we do. We follow up on them very regularly. And it's, it just happens sometimes.
So to follow up on Councillor Nelson's comments, then here we are. We've been this way for how many years now?
Mm-hmm.
So can we prepare for the spring? Can we send notice that, if there are no plans between now and the spring, we are going to plant a nice lawn and build them? I mean, we need to improve that site. I understand, it's frustrating, there's only so much we can do, but if we can take care of their property and bill them, I mean, that might be the best case scenario.
Well, it would be substantial costs in court. I mean, if council was willing to shoulder that, then there would be a legal challenge to that.
Okay, but I thought you just said that we can take care of the property and then bill their taxes.
We can remove noxious weeds. We can make it so it's not considered unsightly, and we can make it safe. But we can't take a gravel lot and put topsoil down and seed it to a lawn,
Okay.
because that would be an improvement, and that's an improvement that the owner hasn't approved, and that would end us up in court. So we do as much as we possibly can, and I would guess we sneak in probably more than we should on occasion, but we are trying really hard. But
Okay.
there's legal limits.
Thank you.
Councillor McDonald?
And I know, Steve and I have had this conversation in the past, but the unsightly premise bylaw does have fines associated with them for businesses that do not adhere to the bylaw. And I think the fines, and correct me if I'm wrong here, they get heavier the more it happens, correct? And you and I have had this discussion, and we do have thoughts and feelings on it. Do you mind sharing it with everybody?
I do have which, sorry?
Thoughts and feelings on the bylaw?
Well-
The finding the business owners?
Yeah, this is one of those times where, as much as I'd like to be different, my thoughts and feelings are really immaterial. You know, like at the end of the day, it's like I said at the last meeting, you can have a guy that owns a business that's run trucks. And his lot has steel and old truck parts, because that's where he gets parts to continue his business. His neighbor may consider that unsightly, but he's paying his taxes, he owns the property, and that should be considered, you know, good. I have a person that's really upset about a property over by West Fraser, because she works at West Fraser, and she can see somebody living in an RV there, and she thinks it's horrible, and she wants me to make it stop, and I told her, no, it's in Peace River Regional District. If you have a wrecked car in your front yard, it may be ugly to some, but it may be your classic 56 Chev from your grandfather that you're restoring to you. So it's a very, very hard thing to legislate. We want to be very careful when we're dealing with businesses that we're not driving businesses away. It's very easy to get a reputation as being not business friendly in local government. And so if we're making it harder for businesses to do business, they won't come to Chetwynd, and we lose out on employment and taxes. But we don't want to get bent over either. Like we want people to really respect our community and respect that we live here and we love our community, and we want it to stay as beautiful as we can make it, right? So it's a very, very hard thing, and every local government deals with it.
Thank you for that very much. Would it be beneficial to, I don't particularly like this word, but use the bylaw fines as a threat, not quite, you know, that we would move forward with it, but knowing that, hey, this is our bylaw. This is what we can do. We wish not to do it. Please control your location.
And we do variations of that pretty much weekly between Ellen and myself. This is what we can do. We don't want to do this. We always take the lightest approach we can. We know that generally people want less governance, not more. And we don't want to govern more. We want to be as open and helpful as we can. But we do say, look, there are fines. And if you don't do this, we're going to have to do it. It'll be on your tax bill. And then if they don't pay their tax bill, then we take it over to a tax sale. And we try to recoup the loss of funds for the taxpayers that way. So we do follow the process, but it's a long game. It's 3 years.
Thank you.
Okay, any more discussion on what is building permits? Okay. Okay, with that being done, new business, 2 items done. At this time, I will ask the public for any questions on any items that were presented on our agenda today, if they would wish to speak.
Do I just stand or do I have to?
Yeah, come up with Mike and state your name and address, yeah.
Well, to say, but Richard and I watched the YouTube video from the last
meeting.
Do you want to hit that little circle?
Is the button?
Yeah,
see,
thank
I
you.
told you I didn't want to do it.
Maybe,
Anyway, we watched the YouTube video and if
yeah,
you
we
could
we have
hear
a protocol here, a
Oh.
name and address.
Oh.
That's it, yeah, thank you.
my physical address?
Yeah.
Oh, gosh, I don't know that. My name is Tamara Zender and I live at number 5, 452050, I don't know, 42nd Street Northeast, I believe. I rent, I don't know.
Okay,
Bad, I
Yeah.
know. Kind of,
Thank you.
kind of everywhere. Okay, so Richard's my father, as you know. He owns the building with the business. And watch the YouTube feed. If he could be here tonight, he would be. He just wanted me to say that, sorry. He's been a business owner in this community for over 50 years. And he just wants me to ask you guys to take our concerns seriously. Sorry, I shouldn't have brought up his name. Anyway, as mentioned more than once in our letter, we love the farmers market. We support the farmers market. We just think it could be in a better location. But now listening to you guys, I really like this new tentative idea. Turn it around, open the street back up. That's our biggest concern, like don't impede our flow of traffic. Beeline may not be open July and August in Fridays, but we are the rest of the year. So is Catskill Smart. And we just wanted to listen to our concerns. I mean, we love the farmers market. I'm an avid farmers market. Every place I go, I seek out the farmers market because I think they're wonderful. But that being said, I just think something needs to happen. Sorry. As for the 2022 report, we were happy for about 3 weeks, and everything went back to normal, the way it was before. And seniors and elders, we never have had a problem with them parking on our lot. We've never asked them to move. It's the rude, disrespectful, perfectly able people that, finger us and tell us, swear at us, and it's just getting to be too much. Okay? I'm not good with conflict. This is how I kind of apologize again. As for the report stating that the incident with the vendor that came in and interrupted Donnie while he was with customers, there was never an apology ever from where that ever came from. There was never an apology. We don't even want one. We just need a solution. Okay? But when you guys said, turn it around, open the street, that would be wonderful. That's all we're asking. Just listen to our concerns, take us seriously.
Thanks, Mayor. Is there any other questions on the agenda today?
Lacey Archer, 4513 47th Ave. Just in regards to the buildings that are boarded up that you guys discussed, I'm not sure if you guys have ever been to Kamloops, but downtown Kamloops, there's a lot of kind of crappy looking old buildings that have had murals painted on them, and they are absolutely stunning. And in regards to the building owners or the property owners, I'm just wondering, has anybody actually had a conversation with them about maybe not going as far as finding them, but maybe presenting that to them and having them, hey, what about planting wildflowers? If that building was painted up with a beautiful mural and some wildflowers that is low maintenance, it would at least be something. I mean, the next best thing is obviously a new building, but if that's too far reach, then what about beautiful art? I'm sure Councillor Nelson can appreciate some artwork and some murals. But if you haven't seen Kamloops, downtown is absolutely stunning, even on the old buildings, in the alleyways that are maybe housing some homeless people, but the murals are amazing. So I just wanted to bring that up to you guys so that you could maybe look into that, if it's an option.
Yeah, thank you for that. We will reach out to Kamloops and see what they have available through information.
And then I
That's good
also,
information.
I had a question about question period itself. I've actually watched quite a few meetings around the province, and they allow you to discuss anything on or off the agenda, and I'm just wondering why this office only allows you to discuss things on the agenda instead of being open-ended for citizens.
I'd have to defer this one to CAO. As sitting for the last 7 years, this has been our protocol, was to ask for questions of on the agenda. That's
Right.
that's my knowledge.
Yes, well, basically, local governments have a lot of different options of question period. Some don't have it at all. Some restrict it to 2 minutes. Some restrict it to 1 question per person. Some restrict it to just what's on the agenda, like policy with District Chetwynd. There's almost as many ways of doing it, I think, as there are local governments. It's been the policy of the District of Chetwynd, as it is with, I believe, City of Fort St. John, City of Dawson Creek, and most of the local governments, to restrict it to items on the agenda. Residents always have the ability and the option to approach as a delegation with the concern that's not in an agenda. But we have to structure meetings because we have time constraints, we have lives to live, and so we build an agenda. If you have something you want to bring that requires a longer discussion, 10 minutes, then you can come as a delegation. You can write emails, you can communicate with us in a variety of ways. We're open to, we're not anything but transparent, but maintaining what's on the agenda is by far the standard practice in the province of British Columbia for local governments. By far, the majority do that.
Okay, I've seen quite a few that don't, and also my concern is that oftentimes I ask questions or other people ask questions and it's stated that it's not on the agenda, but it actually is on the agenda, and I don't really appreciate it. I would prefer to be able to ask questions that are in fact on the agenda, and I think other people would as well, and off the agenda. So if mayor and council, are they the ones that set that protocol?
Yes.
Okay, well, I was just asking that mayor and council consider allowing questions on and off the agenda, but if you guys allow questions just on the agenda, that those are actually allowed to be asked as well.
Yeah, good, Councillor.
Thank you, Lacey. I think probably your best avenue, if you have issues that you wish to discuss, is write a letter. It'll enter into the correspondence, and then it will be on the agenda, so we definitely can hear you better if that's how you wish to be heard.
What is the email for that?
It would be an administrative email.
Is there no?
admin@gochetwynd.com, or you have my email address, you can email me.
Is there one for mayor and council as well?
Yes, I think Steve pretty much sends everything out to all of us. But then if we could step backwards towards the painting private property, which I do love the idea of that. I don't know. I think some of these businesses, specifically the hotels, in fact, were operational prior to being shut down, and they want to sell and become businesses again. That being said, though, myself and Councillor Deck, who is also a brilliant painter, have discussed the concept of, because I believe the District of Chetwynd actually boarded those up for public safety, but maybe there's potential that we could board it up with something just a little bit more attractive, like black or white, but not necessarily just that plywood, something just a little bit extra. It's a conversation to have, and I like where you're going with that, because the conversations that you're having, that Councillor Work was talking about, it's the same story from all our community members. We want to see those lots developed. We want to see the vacant buildings either sold or really like taken down completely and beautified. We all want our community to be beautiful. It's just a matter of looking around what privately owned businesses really. Thank you.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. I think too, if you look even beyond just making it beautiful, but if you do some research on like local wildflowers that are easily spread by seed, they're beneficial for insects, pollinators, and it's low maintenance once it's well established. So if it's something that could maybe be brought up to the business owner, maybe they can pay for it themselves rather than receiving a fine. I think I would rather pay for a mural and wildflowers and making something beautiful and working with the municipality instead of getting a fine. So I don't know if there's conversations with the business owners, but maybe it's something that they can contribute back to the community, because they're driving our professionals away when they drive through town. So just some food for thought.
That's the way you're thinking.
Thank you.
Is there any other public questions on the agenda that we presented? Not seeing any. Adjournment.
Motion.
Oh, what is gonna happen? A gold armor skeleton.
She almost lost her own boyfriend. No.
Hey, Kat. I have a bone to pick with you.
Welcome to Chat TV Gaming.
Hi, I'm Jillian McDonald, local Tim Hortons owner for Chetwynd. And it's camp day, and all of our proceeds from hot and iced coffee go to the Tim's Foundation camps. At the restaurants locally, we're doing a bunch of different incentives. Pick a sucker for a chance to win a prize. We are doing toss a toonie for prizing, as well as selling Camp Day bracelets and Camp Day socks. So in the 30-year history of Camp Day, we have nationally raised $225 million and helped send over 300,000 kids to camp between the ages of 12 and 16. Come on down to your local Tim Hortons, or if you're in Chetwynd, come see us. We have police officers washing windows in the drive-through lane, which is always a fun time. Please come and help us send a kid to camp.
verse in the Bible. They were taught to pray, they left their hands up high. Grandma was young when the baby came, and she was locked up in a white room raining. Now until the key where they made her sign her name, they took my daddy away. My father's blood is mine, his story beats inside me, and I share it here with you. Yeah, he's a child of the government.
Let's start off with, I guess, the vision that you guys saw by the time you were in council 7 years ago with this building. What was the vision of this building back then?
So back then, the vision was based on the elders and people in community who fantasized about having a building where we could all gather, a big enough space to accommodate everyone and more people, so that we could house bigger events and bring more people together, because the current gym that we have is too small, and because we're growing in population, we needed to expand.
What was it like when you guys decided that, you know, you were going to go ahead and do it? Like, was there excitement? Were people nervous? What was that journey like?
So when the organization came together to talk about the idea becoming a reality, there was a lot of unknowns. Where is the money going to come from? How are we going to fund it? So before the excitement, there was worry and stress, and there was a lot of unanswered questions to make the idea a little uneasy. But over time, the questions started to get answers, and then the funding came, and then that's when the excitement came, because now we have a way to navigate to the project.
What would you say was one of the more challenging aspects of building this, making this project a reality?
So the biggest challenge of all, of course, is the budget, because you can plan so much, but then there's always something thrown into the mix where it was unexpected. So then you have to accommodate, you know, the budget and figure out, how do you navigate this cost that we didn't foresee? And so it really did come down to how to manage the money, and we had a good enough contingency that all the outside things that we didn't expect and plan for, it worked out in the end. It all just fell into place and things happened, and we're grateful for that.
Can you give us do you know numbers by any chance, just roughly like total cost of project, and how long did it take to build?
So the build took 3 years, 2-3 years. And the funding came from 3 different pots. So in total, around 27 million. Can't give an exact number right off the top of my head, but we had enormous help from the federal and provincial governments, and then the nation kicked in some of our dollars to make it all work out.
And when you look at the building here today, what does the building make you feel?